Hey, what's up? How are you doing today as I shift over in my chair a little bit? This is the first episode of something new I've been toying with for a bit now called All That NFL Madness. Basically, it's my take on the week to week games in the NFL through the season. Like I said, something I've been toying with because other than being a diehard 49er fan, I do watch a lot of other games, man. A lot of people automatically assume that when you're a fan of just one team, that's all you do is watch that one team. I don't, nor have I ever, man. I've been watching I can't tell you how many games I've watched, you know, that aren't 49ers, aren't Jets, aren't Giants, because I live in the New York area. But, so many, man. So it's just my take on the week to week. Being said, obviously last week was the opening week of the NFL. For the most part, it was a rather dull week, tell you the truth. There was some of the games I thought were going to be a lot better than they were. Everything opened up on Thursday night between the Ravens and the Chiefs. If you got a chance to watch this game, it was somewhat interesting because going into it, obviously, you knew that the Chiefs were the defending world champions, but at the same time, there was the whole Lamar Jackson thing. Derrick Henry added to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson dropping 15 to 20 pounds. So I wanted to see what all the hype was about. And I'll tell you this much. The Ravens, for the most part, that defense looked like dog shit. I expected a lot more out of them. Plus, you didn't see Derrick Henry on the field at all. Mark Andrews, the phenomenal tight end for the Ravens that missed a lot of time last season with an injury, didn't really play a lot in this one. Isaiah Likely, the backup tight end who did damage last year down the stretch, looked really good, man. Coming in for the Chiefs, we got to see from rookie Xavier Worthy how valuable he's going to be. You got to see Isaiah Pacheco, who's awesome. You got to see defense still looking like studs, led by Chris Jones, of course. So, wasn't a bad way to open the season. Obviously, the Chiefs won 27-20 in Kansas City. Just looking at some of the stats here from that game. Like I said, I thought that we were going to see a Baltimore team that was basically do run control, pound the ball with Henry, or at least throw the ball a little more, getting to the red zone, and then use Henry to just pound the ball down the throat. I thought that's why they got him, was to be more valuable in the red zone. Obviously, that didn't happen. Lamar Jackson ran wild in this one. 122 yards on 16 carries. He did look a lot lighter, although I never really thought he looked heavier or fat. He did throw for 273 and a touchdown. Let's face it, the guy is an athletic stud, man. Henry, 13 carries, 46 yards. He did have a touchdown, but it was by the goal line, so I thought they were going to replicate that, which they didn't. Isaiah Likely led them, 19 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. I thought second year, man, Zay Flowers, only had 37 yards, but he looks like he's going to be a legit wide receiver. I still think Baltimore is looking for that other wide receiver. Rashad Bateman has not been that answer. Nelson Aguilar has been more of a journeyman. Not a bad career, a journeyman for that matter. Lamar Jackson did his usual thing. He did fumble. That's always been the thing with him, is the fumble. That's why I'm always waiting when I see him carry that fucking ball. I'm always waiting for it to get stripped or some shit like that. In the offseason, the Ravens lost Patrick Queen, who I felt was one of their best players. Great linebacker. That definitely hurt. Roquan Smith led the way with 7 tackles. The defense, like I said, I didn't think looked good at all. Okay, I know you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. I know they're the best team in football, but Patrick Mahomes was 20 of 28 for 291. Did throw a pick. Did throw a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. Xavier Worthy, who I have in fantasy, baby, and I started him. I took a fucking gamble. Xavier Worthy, who the 49ers had the chance to draft, but I think they traded up, I believe. Chiefs got him first. We ended up getting Pearsall, which will turn out well. But Xavier Worthy, man, who everyone said was too light. If you go back and watch the highlights, he's the fastest player in the draft. 1 carry, 21 yards, and a touchdown. And then he had 2 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown. Rashee Rice, second-year wide receiver, 7 catches, 103 yards. He's legit. Xavier Worthy looks like he's going to be legit. Noah Gray, backup tight end, 3 catches, 37 yards. So one guy who I love, okay, and I say love, sort of, I guess, I don't know. I got to, I'm not a Chiefs fan by any imagine. Obviously, the last times we've made the 49ers have made the Super Bowl, they've beaten us twice. But at the same time, I gotta say it. I do respect them as an organization because I like Andy Reid a lot, and I respect Spags as a defensive coordinator. I think he's phenomenal. But I like the way that they built their team. I think that they've taken a wonderful approach to it. I got to say that much. And they have just a phenomenal group of players there. Obviously, I feel that coming out of the East, it's going to be them. And again, that defense, Jalen Watson had 11 tackles. Chris Jones, they were moving all over the place. One of the best defensive tackles in football. He had a sack. Mecole Hardman, right? I mean, journeyman, goes to the Jets, comes back to the Chiefs. Had a punt kickoff return for 29 yards, as did Carson Steele. Look, the Chiefs are legit, man. They're going to be hard to beat. Although I do have a feeling that Mr. Harbaugh would be the perfect person. And I mean Jim Harbaugh, not John. Jim could be the perfect person to make that happen. But we'll get to that when we come up to the Chargers. Friday night was the Packers-Eagles game. You got to see the billion-dollar quarterback in Jordan Love. Unfortunately, I stopped watching after about the third or fourth quarter. I think I passed out. He did get hurt. We know now he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. That's a shame. That's a good young Packer team. I said that when we beat them last year in the playoffs. The 49ers beat them in the playoffs. It's a good young Packer team. Eagle defense looked like dog shit. Jalen Hurts did not look too good. Saquon Barkley, don't get me started. Going to get to it when we get to the Giants. That's all I'm going to say. Eagles over the Packers 34 to 29. Started off really boring until the second quarter. And Saquon went 18 yards from Jalen Hurts. Jaden Reed, one of the multiple receivers that Green Bay's had. That kid's the stud out of all of them. I love Wicks. Watson, I'm not so big on. That kid is legit. He had himself a game, baby. A game. Jordan Love, 17 to 34 for 260, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Really worth all that money? I don't know. Did have a good year last year, though. Josh Jacobs didn't look bad. Over from the Raiders, 16 carries, 84 yards. This Emmanuel Wilson, man, averaging 11.5 yards per carry. 4 carries, 46 yards. Jaden Reed, 33-yard carry for a touchdown. Then he caught 4 passes, 138 yards, and a touchdown, averaging 34 yards per catch. Between him, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, and Dontavian Wicks, that's a nice slew of wide receivers, man. Not to mention Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave, all young wide receivers and tight ends. But I'll say this right now. Christian Watson doesn't look like a first-round pick to me, or a second-round pick, whatever he was. These other guys are stud muffins, man. Stud muffins. Good job. Quay Walker had 11 tackles. Javon Bullitt had 11 tackles. Keyshawn Nixon had himself a game. 7 tackles and a sack. That's a good defense. Rashawn Gary, another solid young defensive player. He had himself a sack. They got 2 interceptions from Jair Alexander and Xavier McKinney, who came over from the New York Giants. Why they let him walk, I don't know. We'll get to that when we talk about the Giants. But Over to the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, 20 at 34, 278, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He did run for 33 yards. I'm still not sold that he's a stud. I don't give a shit that he went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Don't give a shit. I'm still not sold on it. Saquon, 24 carries, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Saquon, 2 catches, 23 yards, and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, legit stud, 5 catches, 119 and a touchdown. Devonta Smith, another stud, 7 catches, 84 yards. Alabama. Dallas Goedert sort of fell off there, 4 catches, 31 yards. And Jalen Hurts fumbled. Not only did he turn the ball over twice through the air, 1 through the ground. That's 3 fucking turnovers. Again, not legit. I don't care what anyone says. Defense looked like shit except for Zach Bourne. 15 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 tackles for loss. Reed Blankenship, that's a good player, 8 tackles. They did get 2 sacks that came from Zach Bourne, as I said. Other than that, I didn't see shit. I have not seen shit out of Jalen Carter. I haven't seen shit out of Nolan Smith Jr. I don't know. Jordan Davis, who I was big on 2 years ago, I haven't seen shit on. So I don't know. Plus, it really didn't help that the Eagle defense gave up 29 yards, and they gave up 414 yards. They may have won the game, which is most importantly, but you gave up a chunk shit of yards. And you're supposed to be known for your fucking defense. But just if you watched, and I don't want to be biased because this isn't the podcast. I have another podcast called The Niner Nut. But we whipped you last year. We exposed the defense. So that's all I'm going to say. Not really sold on what I saw, man. Not sold. For the Eagles, I expected a lot more out of them defensively. Didn't see it. Like I said, Jordan Love was injured. Now I wanna just touch something. Brian Gutekunst, however the fuck you say his name, general manager of the Green Bay Packers. He gets, what I do is I give out horse's ass awards. He gets one of the awards for horse's ass last week because you don't have a good backup quarterback. So bad that you had to trade for trash in Malik Willis. Now, that being said, I hope Malik Willis becomes a decent or good quarterback. But so far, that just doesn't happen to be materializing. How do you have a $80 billion quarterback and you don't have a decent backup? You get a horse's ass awards for that, I'm sure, because now you're without him. Doesn't make any sense to me. None whatsoever, really. Unfucking real, bro. In this day and age where backup quarterbacks are so important, you don't have one to back up Jordan Love, who's a scrambling quarterback who has the ability to get hurt because of the way he plays the game. I mean, it's pure logic from where I'm concerned. You look around, Andy Dalton on Carolina, right? J.K. Dobbs on San Francisco. Tyrod Taylor on the Jets. Fuck. Tommy DeVito as the third stringer on the Giants. I'll get to the Giants, don't worry. Right? Just go around, man. Go around. Jameis Winston on Cleveland, who's going to be starting there real soon. Real soon. Yeah, real soon. You know? If you had a brain, backup quarterback was always important. Remember, Frank Reich on Buffalo had that workout. Cody Carlson backing up Warren Moon. Okay? Joe Montana was backed up by Steve Young. Steve Young was backed up by Steve Bono. Jeff Garcia was a backup for a little while, right? Pat Ryan backed up Ken O'Brien. The great Jeff Hostetler backed up Phil Simms. We go on and on and on. You got to have a backup quarterback, baby. I mean, there's no ifs, ands about it. Justin Fields. Russell Wilson was hurt, but right now, Justin Fields would be, well, if it happens, would be the backup to Russell Wilson. Not a bad thing. Could be worse. You know? Shit, Easton Stick's not that bad with the LA Chargers. Looked pretty decent last year. I mean, I wouldn't give him the keys to the kingdom, but okay. Carson Wentz on Kansas City backing up Mahomes. I'll take it. Not in Green Bay, though. Not in Green Bay. You can draft 2 good tight ends and 4 good wide receivers, but you can't sign a backup quarterback? Horse's ass award, really. So the Eagles came out on top 34-29. And 2 words, Saquon Barkley. But I wanna save that for when we get to the Giants. Savor it. Savor it. High. Patriots and Bengals was a shocker, man. What the fuck is going on in Cincinnati, bro? First of all, Joe Burrow hasn't returned to his normal form. And I love Joe Burrow. I'm big on him. I think he's great, but what the fuck? Going into that game, Jamar Chase had not yet signed or been offered to sign a contract. He was good threatening to not play. He did play without one. Not that it mattered because they look like pure shit. Hat off to Gerard Mayo. Great job coaching. Hat off to Rhamondre Stevenson. Right? Hat off to Jacoby Brissett. I love him. He's not extravagant. He's not horrible by any means. He's Jacoby Brissett. It's like you go on a date, right? Now maybe she's, and it looks whatever they are. You know what I mean? I don't go much by that. So she's not a 10 by today's standards, whoever. She's not a 5 by today's standards, whoever. She's a 7. That's Jacoby Brissett. And man, what a career. What a fucking career, man. I love him. He never hurts you. Anyway, the Patriots win in Gerard Mayo's debut, 16-10 over the Bengals in Cincinnati. Rhamondre Stevenson ran wild. Joey Sly. I love that fucking name, man. That guy must be. I hope if he lives up to that last name, like he's one sly motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's probably been used so many times. He's probably heard that since he was in first grade, fucking eating glue, whatever he did. Kicked 3 field goals. Brissett was 15-24, 121. That's what I'm saying, man. It's not sexy. It's pretty. I like it. I dig it. It's the girl next door. It's Katie Holmes. When she was fucking in Dawson's Creek, I should have married her. Especially when she had like the nose ring and disturbing behavior. Yeah. Rhamondre Stevenson, 25 carries, 120 yards, 1 touchdown. Austin Hooper, where the fuck have you been, bro? 2 catches, 31 yards. Typical Patriot numbers of the now Patriots. We don't have a wide receiver. It's another one. It's another team. We don't have any wide receivers. Sorry. But anyway, looking at the Patriots stats from that game, other than what I just mentioned, Brissett, 32 yards on 7 carries. Antonio Gibson, good solid running back. Good between the tackles. 7 carries, 18 yards. Brissett, I love him. Again, 32 yards on the ground, 121. Okay, 5 yards per throw. Who gives a shit? Got sacked once, didn't turn the ball over. Ka-tink. I love it. Tyquan Thornton, 2 catches, 27 yards. KJ Osborne, I hope he turns out to be good. I thought he was pretty damn good in Minnesota. 3 catches, 21 yards. Hunter Henry, 2 catches, 18 yards. Demario Douglas, rookie Jalen Polk only had 1 catch. On the defensive side, Juwan Bentley's a beast. That Patriot defense, solid. Jabril Peppers, 6 tackles. Keon White, 2.5 sacks. All right. Hey, hats off to them. Let's look at the Bengals a little bit. Burrow, 21-29. Not bad. 164 yards, 5.7 yards per throw. I think it's the hair, the blonde hair, personally. Got sacked 3 times. Zach Moss, 9 carries, 44 yards. Chase Brown, 3 carries, 11 yards. Jamar Chase, 6 catches, 62 yards, averaging 10.3. I don't know, man. I don't know. No T. Higgins in this one. Tyler Boyd, of course, is on Tennessee. 2 fumbles. Logan Wilson, the lone star for this team, 12 tackles. Fucking one of the best linebackers in football. Love him. Dax Hill had a sack and 8 tackles. That's it. They look like dog shit, man. That's just one game. It's true. It's just one game. But total yards, Patriots 290 to Bengals 224. Here's, to me, the most impressive thing. Patriots held the ball for 34 minutes, the Bengals for 25. That tells you everything. Hey, if I'm the Patriots, I'm doing the same thing. I will bore you to fucking death. And they can do it with that offense. Brissett, dump here, dump there. Run between the tackles. All fucking year long, dude. Do it. With that defense? Shit, yeah. Good for you, New England. Good for you. Bengals better get it together, bro. Better get it together. They're better than that. Let's move on. Cardinals and Bills. Look, coming into the season, I'm the first one to say Bills are overrated. Bills are on their way down. They're fucking 2-0. How could I be wrong about that? But who have they played? They won last night, Miami. I'm not going to cover that game now because technically that's week 2. But you lost Davis, right? One of the best wide receivers in football. Whatever the case may be. They lost Gabe Davis, the other wide receiver, to Jacksonville, okay? Which leaves them with Keon Coleman, a rookie they drafted, right? I like this Khalil Shakir. I've always liked him. Good play to stretch the field with. Dalton Kincaid, not a bad tight end, right? Okay. James Cook playing his balls off. Got to give him his due for a team I said could not run the ball. They're making a fool out of me. Ray Davis not looking bad, right? Josh Allen, look, you say what you want. He throws interceptions. He jumps too much. He's awesome. He's awesome. Okay. They were getting their assholes eaten. And not for fun in this one. Now, Arizona, I give a lot of credit to. Gannon's done a great job with them as a head coach. When I was checking the score for this one, I couldn't get over it. Look, I like Kyler Murray. You got to like Kyler Murray. I think he's an ultra-talented guy. Coming off of the injury he came off of last season, came back for a little bit. Dealing with a lot. They lost Hollywood Brown, right? Got James Conner, probably one of the most physical, fearless, badass running backs in all of football. They were up early, 10-0. Took a 10-0 lead, then took a 17-3 lead on them. Going into the half, it was 17-10 Arizona. Josh Allen had to fucking do everything in this one. Matt Collins got a touchdown. Matt Collins, solid wide receiver, man. People don't talk about him enough. Jacksonville, he was with the Raiders. Solid wide receiver. The Bills took the lead in the third quarter with a touchdown pass to Khalil Shakir. 24-17. From that point on, it was all Bills. Arizona did cut it to 31-28 in the fourth quarter. DJ Dallas, formerly of the Seattle Seahawks, had a 96-yard kickoff return. Tyler Bass, another big game. Josh Allen, 18-23 for 232 and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown. He jumped for a touchdown. Here's my thing with Tim. One of these days, dude, and I don't want to see it happen. I want to see anybody get hurt, but someone's going to fucking take that cape off your back and put their helmet right up your guts. You got to stop jumping so much, bro. James Cook, continuing where he left off last year, 19 carries, 71 yards. Keon Coleman, nice rookie numbers for a debut. 4 catches, 51 yards. Not bad. But they were getting beaten, bro. They were getting beaten. I was surprised by that. Who else we got in this one? Let's see. That defense, this Terrell Bernard just keeps getting better and better. Cam Lewis, he had 11 tackles. Cam Lewis, 7 tackles. Greg Rousseau, 3 sacks, man. He's I love their defense. In my opinion, I think Ed Oliver is one of the best defensive tackles in football. I don't know why experts are down on him because he doesn't have, extravagant sack numbers. So what? He's a great defensive tackle. Him, Rousseau, Taylor Rapp, this DeMar Hamlin, happy to see him well and back, playing really good. Von Miller. I had 2 sacks last night. Had one in his game opener. He's got 3 already. He lost some weight. Looks like he's back. Daquan Jones. I mean, this is AJ Spence. This is a hell of a good defense, man. But that's all they got. I'm still waiting for the other shoe to fall. That's just me. Tyler Bass, 2 for 2. Over to the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, 21 of 31 for 162, one touchdown. He also led the team in yards on the ground for 57 yards. James Conner, 16 carries, 50 yards, one touchdown. I got him in fantasy. Greg Dortch, who I love. Last year, they didn't throw him the ball. 2 years ago, he was a megastar. 6 catches, 47 yards. I love that he's small and he can do all these different things. Throw him the fucking ball, please. Trey McBride, 5 catches, only 30 yards, but legit tight end, man. Everyone's been talking about rookie Marvin Harrison Sr. He was only targeted 3 times, 1 catch, 4 yards. Hey, look, man. Give the kid time. It's 1 game out of 17. He'll be okay. Their defense, they gave up 34 yards, but Kazir White, 11 tackles. Budda Baker is one of the best underrated safeties in football, 10 tackles. Mack Wilson Sr., 9 tackles. Another solid running back. Xavier Collins, solid play. It's a good defense. Sean Murphy Bunting came over from Tampa Bay. You know, I don't think they're a horrible team, but they're building. Nothing is expected of them yet. Give it a couple more years. Now we get to where I really want to talk about. You know how much I hate the Giants with a passion. Fuck them. And I hate Sam Darnold. Fuck him too. 28-6, the Vikings beat the Giants last week in home opener. I happened to watch that whole fucking game, and let me just say this. I've said this so many fucking times. I said this so many times that my Jiminy Cricket at night will, get on my bed, take off the hat, scratch his head, whisper in my ear, and say, he doesn't whistle. He says, if you mention the fact that Daniel Jones got $40 million one more time, I'm going to get Monstro to bite your ballsack. That's how many times I fucking mentioned the fact that Daniel Jones, $40 million. Daniel Jones, $40 million. How? Why? What is wrong with people? That's all I'm going to say. For Giant fans who watched that game, anyway, they were winning. Graham Gano, the one light spot on that team. They were up 3-0. Aaron Jones looked great in that game for the Vikings. Looked phenomenal. Ran wild on them. 7-3. Justin Jefferson, of course, from Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold did the Sam Darnold thing. He started off 10 for 10. One game. You didn't play anybody. At one point, it was 21-6. And then how many people saw the Andrew Van Ginkel fucking interception on Daniel Jones? It was bad enough when Daniel Jones threw the pick in preseason against Jacksonville. He threw it right to Van Ginkel, who also knocked him out last year with the neck injury. Van Ginkel's a fucking great linebacker, bro. He's just like he reminds me of Clay Matthews Jr. They look alike too with the fucking hair. Fucking Fabio. Danny Dimes, they call him. 22 of 42, 186 yards and 2 interceptions. Danny Dimes. Look more like Danny Drachma. He sucks. Giants can't run the ball. Don't have a running back to do it. Singletary and Gray not going to get it done. Neighbors looks like a player. 5 catches, 66 yards. Yep. So, as I said, Horse's Ass Awards. We already gave one out. We're going to give out the second one right now. And I don't think you would disagree. Joe Schoen, general manager for the New York Giants. You should get Horse's Ass Award for years. You let Saquon Barkley go. Did anybody watch the fucking I didn't really watch the series, but I did watch the videos from the offseason of Hard Knocks where he tells he tells Barkley in the we're gonna let you test the market, and promises him that whoever comes at you will match it. How do you let your best player go? The bell cow of that organization, who has carried that organization on his back the last couple of years when they've had nothing. but you pay the Jim Carrey lookalike $40 million to fuck up. The offensive line is terrible. Oh, I'm sorry. Joe Schoen gets the second horse's ass awards. Daniel Jones gets a horse's ass award. How to throw that pick to Van Ginkel. Bad enough the fact that you couldn't complete a pass to save your life. Bad enough that you're mega fucking overrated and you have the greatest agent ever. In fact, I think your agent fucking has pictures of Joe Schoen fucking the big Chiquita Banana mascot or some shit. Because I don't know how you got that money, bro. You know who should get a fucking... To be fair, we got to give out another award, too. DeBoll. He's not going to be there next year, bro. I know you're playing with the roster that was given to you, but you're not a head coach either. Who the fuck are you kidding? Did anyone watch that game last week? They didn't make any changes. I thought they were going to pull Jones. Let Tommy DeVito play. I love him. I'm rooting for him. Everyone in New York is rooting for him. Let him play. Shit. I mean, that was an absolute disaster. Bad enough you got fucked in the ass. You got fucked in the ass at home. I mean, that's and to Sam Darnell, who strapped it on pretty hard, man. That was fucking gnarly. Talk about stats. The Giants suck fucking penis. Not even singular. Dicks. Plural. Fuck. And I'm not even a Giant fan. Darnell, 19-24 for 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Aaron Jones, 94 yards on 14 carries. Justin Jefferson, 4 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown. C.J. Ham is awesome. I love C.J. Ham. He's a throwback, man. Daniel Jones got sacked 5 times. This is Pat Jones II. They weren't blocking him. Did anyone see that? That offensive line sucks. They gave up how many sacks last year, the Giants? 85? The fuck? That's 5 already. Van Ginkel and the great Harrison Smith. There's a guy I'm always rooting for. Gets better every year with an interception. Let's look at Giant stats for a second, other than Daniel Jones, who I read. Singletary, 37 yards on the ground. Wan'Dale Robinson's a player. They should use him more like Deebo Samuel. He had 6 catches, 44 yards. Darius Slayton, I like him. I've always liked Darius. I think he's underrated. They don't have a tight end. Daniel Bellinger is not a tight end. I'm sorry. You didn't have it. I get it. Waller's retired. I understand. It's not all your fault. But get a fucking tight end. Defense, this Tyler Nubin looked good. Darius Mussau looked good. Dexter Lawrence is one of the best defensive tackles in football. He's a player. Always has been. Brian Burns didn't do shit. Bobby Okereke was held to just 3 tackles. Great linebacker, though. He's very good. I don't think defense is the problem. It's everything else. Fucking organization. What a shame. Organization used to be one of the most classiest and the best. Not anymore. Joe Schoen's got to go. Got to fucking go. How do you keep a job? Don't start saying the $40 million thing again, you fuck. You said it a million times. How do you let Barkley walk? Anyway, Titans and Bears. Going into this one, if you've been following Hard Knocks with the Chicago Bears, I'm rooting for Caleb Williams. He had a shit game. He looked like a rookie. I like Eberflus a lot. I do. I'm rooting for him too. They have a talented squad. I mean, look at that roster, man. They've put together a really good team there. They should be okay. Playing a Titan team that's building themselves too. I like Will Levis, right? I like Tony Pollard, not in Dallas, but I like him here. I like Tajee Spears. He's got a lot of targets to throw to. I can't pronounce the tight ends. Okarunko, not bad, right? You got Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd. There's no reason why they should be that bad. I mean, they were winning that game for a long time. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they just got Ernie Jones from the Rams. So looking pretty good, man. So I think they're going to be okay, the Titans. I really do. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think. But early on, they were strapping it on to the Bears. Pollard had a touchdown. Nick Folk, Chig Akwanku. Boy, did I butcher that. They were up 17-0 going into the half. Then it was 17-3 right at the end of the half. Cairo Santos kicked the field goal. But up until that point, the Bears looked like shit. Jonathan Owens, 21-yard return of a block punt, making it 17-10. Santos, 2 more field goals, 17-16. Then Tyreek Stevenson had a 43-yard interception return. Did anyone see that interception thrown by fucking Will Levis? What are you doing? Just throw the fucking ball away, bro. You were winning. Let your defense win the game for you. But you know what? I do think Levis has a Levis, whatever. Leave me alone. I think he's got a lot of upside, man. I really do. I think he's going to be okay. It was a good game. It was a good game. Levis was at 19-32 for 127, 1 touchdown. Did throw 2 picks. Tony Pollard looked good. 16 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Calvin Ridley, 3 catches, 50 yards. Levis also had 36 yards on the ground. He could scramble. He's a player, I think. Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, he only had 18 yards on 3 catches. DeAndre, 1 catch, 8 yards. He was banged up going into that one. Traylon Burks is a fucking bust. Levis also had a fumble, so that's 3 turnovers. Defense isn't bad, man. Look at the names you got on this defense. Amani Hooker, Harold Landry Jr., Kenneth Murray Jr., Quandre Diggs, L'Jarius Sneed, Jack Gibbons, Sebastian Joseph Day, Ernest Jones, like I mentioned. Jeffrey Simmons, a phenomenal defensive tackle. This is a good team. Harold Landry had a sack, as did Sebastian Joseph Day, if I could get that word out. Going over to the Bears, like I said, it was a shit show. It was an ugly win, but it's a win. That's all that matters. Caleb Williams, 14-29, 93 yards, averaging 3.2 yards per pass, sacked twice, had a rating of 55.7. Yikes. DeAndre Swift, 10 carries, 30 yards. They couldn't run the ball worth the shit. Anyone watched Hard Knocks? I was rooting for that Ian Williams kid, man. I think he's going to be good with the Dreads, who's also a doctor or a medical student. DJ Moore, 5 catches, 36 yards. Keenan Allen, 4 catches, 29 yards. He was targeted 11 times. Roman O'Dunes, the rookie, 1 catch, 11 yards. I believe he got injured. Cole Kmet, only 1 catch, 4 yards. Even Gerald Everett, they got players, bro. They got players. Defense, TJ Edwards, 15 tackles, legit, 2 tackles for losses. Darrell Taylor spent a good chunk of his time with the Seattle Seahawks, led the way with 2 sacks. Again, Tremaine Edwards, here's a player. Kyler Gordon's a player. Jalen Johnson is legit, man. Kevin Byard, Montez Sweat. Look at the names they have here. There's no reason why they shouldn't be good this year, man. There's no fucking reason. Tyreek Stevenson had a pick for 43 yards. He picked off Levis. Jalen Johnson had a pick. Bears over the Titans 24-17. Panthers and the Saints. This was absolute ass rape for a minute. I'm not even going to go through it. Look, the Carolina's fucking horrible. We all know that. This Bryce Young guy, I don't know. I don't see it. Last year was a mega disaster. This year, we're off to a shit start. I like the Saints, man. I like Dennis Allen. I like what he's done with that team. I think Carr is so much better than people make him to be. I mean, if the Saints stay healthy, there's no reason why they can't do something. Chris Olave, Rashad Shaheed, Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams. I think that's a team. I mean, this was just 47-10, the Saints over the Carolina. It was all fucking Saints. Carr was 19-23 with 3 touchdowns for 200 yards. Alvin Kamara, 83 yards on 15 carries for a touchdown. Jamal Williams, 38 yards on 11 carries for 1 touchdown. Rashad Shaheed, 73 yards through the air with 3 catches and a touchdown. Foster Moreau, backup tight end who used to play for the Raiders, 4 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Juwan Johnson, starting tight end for the Saints, had 2 catches, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Again, they've got players left and right. Defensively, Alontae Taylor had 3 sacks. Demario Davis, another guy who doesn't age, phenomenal linebacker. He had a sack. You name it, they did it. Will Harris had a pick. Jordan Howden had a pick. This Blake Grupe is a phenomenal kicker. He was 4-4. Over to the Panthers. Bryce Young, 13 of 30, 161 for 2 picks. Why didn't you pull him earlier for Andy Dalton? Miles Sanders blows, 5 catches, 22 yards. Talk about hitting ground zero. Shit. Adam Thielen had 3 catches for 49 yards. Jonathan Mingo, 2 catches for 40 yards. Xavier Legette, 4 catches for 35 yards. Deontay Johnson in his debut as a Panther, 2 catches, 19 yards. They are fucking horrible. Shaq Thompson is like, the lone cat standing over there. 10 tackles. They're terrible. They're horrible. Let's move on. Steelers and Falcons. Boswell goes 6 of 6, gives the Steelers 18 field goals. I liked what I saw out of Justin Fields. I still think Justin Fields got the shit end of the stick. I think he can be a player. I think he's valuable. Obviously, is he going to be the long-time starter? I don't think so. I think Wilson's going to eventually take over in Pittsburgh, but I don't think there's a reason why Fields shouldn't start. He was getting better. He had a monster year last year, especially on the ground. But whatever the case may be, that's Steeler football, right? 18-10, led by the offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. We run the ball and we play defense. That's what they do. That's what they do. Maybe boring, but if you get a win, who gives a shit? It's old school. I dig it. But I gotta respect them, man. Tomlin's a great head coach. Fields was 17 to 23 for 156. Najee Harris had 70 yards on the ground. Justin Fields had 57 yards on the ground. George Pickens, 85 yards through the air on 6 catches. He's legit. Pat Fryermuth, 4 catches, 27 yards. This defense, TJ Watt had a sack. What else is new? Montavious Adams had a sack. They held Atlanta in check. 2 interceptions, Dante Jackson and Deshaun Elliott. And like I said, Chris Boswell was 6 of 6. Okay, Atlanta, obviously we know Kirk Cousins isn't 100%. He was 16 to 26 for 155, a touchdown and 2 picks. I don't know why he's playing. Bijan Robinson had 68 yards on 18 carries. They held Kyle Pitts in check. They held Drake London to almost nothing. Defense did their job. And it's a good Falcon team when they're healthy. I don't know. Let's see what happens in the second week. Dolphins and Jaguars. Jaguars led the way for a little bit, and then the Dolphins, an overrated offensive team. Overrated team individually, but the Dolphins are exactly what Miami is. They're glitzy, glammy, but they're not deep enough. This is what they are. Now, bringing up this week, they lose Tua Tagovailoa. In case you didn't know, he did have another concussion Thursday night in his loss to Buffalo. Listen, first and foremost, I hope he does the right thing and retires. First of all, I hope he's okay, number one. Number 3, why aren't you sliding with your feet, bro? Come on. Come on, man. Jaguars were up 14 to nothing. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie, getting in the action, 14-yard pass from Trevor Lawrence. And then Devin Arcane, another beast, got going, cut it to 14-7. Jason Sanders won the game with a field goal, 20-17 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. The battle of, it's not exactly the 2 different cities, but the battle of the South, I guess you could say. Trevor Lawrence, 12 of 21 for 162 1. Not great numbers. He needs to have a monster season. Tank Bigsby, man, 73 yards. Him and Travis Etienne can make one hell of a 1-2 punch. Travis Etienne, 12 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Gabe Davis came over from Buffalo, 3 catches, 62 yards, stretching the field. Him and Christian Kirk together can make 2 damn dangerous deep threats. This Foyesud Alukan, 11 tackles. Is there ever a time he doesn't lead them in tackles? Devin Lloyd, another guy, 9 tackles. It's another good defense. Travon Walker had 2 sacks. Ariki Armstead, ex-49er, had a sack. I think they're going to be okay, Jacksonville. They just really got to find a way not to lose tight games like this. Tagliova did have 338 yards and a touchdown. He had himself a game. Jeff Wilson, 5 carries, 26 yards. Running game didn't get started, man. Tyreek Hill, of course, coming off that terrible incident where he got detained and in front of Miami Stadium. That was disgusting. 7 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Waddell, 5 catches, 109 yards. Devon Arcane also had 7 catches, 76 yards. Look, like I said, this is an offensive juggernaut when they want to be. Now, without Tagliova, I don't know if they can do that with Skylar Thompson. I'm sure they're going to have to go out and sign another quarterback. I bet you they get Mike White back, who they cut. But even with them, too, it's not going to be the same. So their season could be in jeopardy for sure. Their defense, they put a lot into. Not bad, but this team is in trouble. Big time. That AFC East is really up for grabs. Texans and Colts, good matchup. These are obviously the Texans are a phenomenal team. They've got talent on top of talent, led by a great coach in DeMeco Ryans. But I'll tell you this much. I like this Colt team a lot. The Texans beat the Colts 29-27. Stephon Diggs got a 2-yard pass from C.J. Stroud. To make it 29-20. And then Anthony Richardson had a 3-yard run to cut it to 29-27, but the Colts were not able to overthrow the Texans. C.J. Stroud continuing right where he left off, 24-32 for 234 and 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, what a player, man. 159 yards on the ground on 30 carries and a touchdown. Nico Collins, 117 through the air on 6 catches. Stephon Diggs, like I said, did catch 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 33 yards. Defense gave up a chunk of points. Over to Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson, 9 of 19 for 212, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. We know he's got the talent. He's just really got to pull it together, though, and better these numbers. He led the team in rushing, 56 yards on 6 carries, which I'm sure a lot of people who are Colts fans are not too happy about, given the fact that Jonathan Taylor is your halfback and given the fact that Richardson got knocked out last year running the ball. Taylor did have 48 yards on 16 carries and a touchdown. Richardson did have a touchdown on the ground and threw 2 through the air. Alec Pierce, 3 catches for 125. One of those was a 60-yarder. Ashton Doolin, 1 catch, 54 yards. Michael Pittman was held to 4 catches, 31 yards. Again, Colt defense is always what it is. It's speedy linebackers. Nick Cross, 14 tackles. Julian Blackman, 13 tackles. E.J. Speed, 10 tackles. DeForest Buckner, ex-49er, who we never should have traded by far. But then again, we wouldn't have Deebo Samuel if we didn't. Such an underrated defensive tackle. Had 1.5 sacks, continuing where he left off. So, good game, though. Both of those teams are going to be good this year. Texans over the Colts, 29-27. Now, Chargers over Raiders. If you watched this one, this was started off kind of boring, but typical Jim Harbaugh. Got the Chargers right where they needed to be. They beat the Raiders 22-10. Didn't look good at first for the Chargers, but Cam Dicker, man, signed a big contract before the season. Kicked 3 field goals. They were up 9-7 in the third quarter. J.K. Dobbins had himself a game. Ladd McConkey, the rookie, getting involved. 22-10 victory over the Raiders. Looking at some of the numbers for the Raiders, Justin Herbert, 17-26 for 144, below modest, if anything, and a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins, 135 on 10 carries and a touchdown, had himself a game. Gus Edwards, the Baltimore duo, has come west, had 26 yards and 11 carries. Other than Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson had 3 catches, 38 yards. Joshua Palmer, 2 catches, 15 yards. They're still looking for a legit number 1 receiver. They let both of them, their legit receivers, go in the offseason. Mike Williams to the Jets, Keenan Allen to the Bears. Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, if they stay healthy, man, especially Bosa, doing damage. Bosa had a sack. Mack had a sack and a half. Morgan Fox had a half a sack. Morgan Fox is a damn good defensive player, come over from the Rams. Asante Samuel Jr., Denzel Perryman. Look, they've got players, man. Puna Fordo, I think, is a phenomenal, underrated because of his size, defensive tackle. I think that they possibly could upset the Kansas City Chiefs and either tie them for the AFC West or take it from them. Just saying. Just saying. Raider stats. Gardner Minshew was named starter of the season over Gavin O'Connell. Good numbers. I love Minshew. 25 of 33 for 257, a touchdown, a pick. He also had 5 yards on the ground. Zamir White only 44 yards on 13 carries. Alexander Mattinson, man, he don't look good. 19 yards on 5 carries. Jacoby Myers led the way, 3 catches, 61 yards. Devontae Adams, 5 catches, 59 yards. Brock Bowers, the rookie, looked damn good. 6 catches, 58 yards. I think the Raiders are going to be fine. I think they're going to be just fine. Spillane led the way with 10 tackles. I mean, they've got players. Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby had a sack. Although rookie Joe Alt did do a really good job on him. They'll be all right. Raiders will be good. That division is going to look good, all except for Denver, who didn't play too bad. Denver, they lost 26-20 to the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. That was a weird game. I didn't check it out, but I was following it. Really boring, it looked like at one time. At the half, Denver was up 13-9. Will Lutz just 1, 2, 3 for 3 on the field goals there. And then Seattle took charge in the third. Kenneth Walker, 23-yard run, and then a Jason Myers field goal made it 19-13. Jacques Charbonnet had a 30-yard pass from Geno Smith, 26-13. And Bo Nix, 4-yard run, tried to cut it, but not enough to win. Nix not bad in his debut. 24 of 42, 138. 26 of 42 for 138, 2 picks. Did I say not bad? That sucks. 47.5 rating. Did lead the team in rushing with 5 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown. Not much from Jaleel McLaughlin and Javonte Adams. Both held under 30 yards. Josh Reynolds, 5 catches, 45 yards. No touchdowns. Cortland Sutton, 4 catches, 38 yards. You know, this is a team that's starving for another wide receiver, too. Jerry Jeudy, they let go, who I thought was a bust to go to Cleveland. I don't know what this team with Sean Payton's doing. I could tell you this much. Riley Moss is a player, 12 tackles, and Alex Singleton I fucking love. He's a tackling machine. 9 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. He did have a pick, too. Jonathan Cooper had 2 sacks. It's going to be a long season for Denver. Don't expect them to do anything, especially in that division. Cowboys and the Browns, this was a shocker, I'll tell you the truth. Cowboys look pretty damn good, but doesn't mean anything. We know what's going to happen. Dak Prescott got that humongous contract from Jerry Jones, who's going to be eating his own ass come the end of the season when they choke again. They beat the Browns 33-17. Brandon Cooks scored. Ezekiel Elliott scored, making it 14-3. Kavontae Turpin, he's a stud. 60-yard punt return, making this game was over before it fucking began, man. Prescott was 19-32 for 179 and a touchdown. Elliott 40 yards on 10 carries for a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb 61 yards on 5 catches. There wasn't too much for them to do. Their defense, DeMarvion Overshown had 11 tackles and a sack. Eric Kendricks, who was signed by the 49ers before he balked on it and went to the Cowboys this past offseason, had 2 sacks as well as an interception. DeMarcus Lawrence back to his normal self with 2 sacks. Micah Parsons, of course, got a sack. Altogether, they had 6 sacks, 2 picks. Looked pretty good. But they ain't going to mean shit. It's the Cowboys. Deshaun Watson, who once again was another accusation was made against him from a woman. What else is new? 24 of 45, 169, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. He was sacked 6 times. He does not look like we all knew this wasn't going to work out. Jerome Ford had 44 yards on 12 carries. Obviously, no Nick Chubb, who was still recovering from that horrible knee injury. David Njoku led the way, 4 catches, 44 yards. He is out this week with injury. Not much going on for Cleveland, other than a sack apiece from Zadarius Smith, Myles Garrett, and Dalvin Harrison. That is not the way they wanted to start the season for sure. I expected more of them. Buccaneers and the Commanders. 37-20, the Buccaneers beat the Commanders, but I'll tell you this much. You got to I think the Commanders, again, they're going to be not going to be great record-wise, but they're going to be battling. All eyes on Jaden Daniels. Didn't look too bad. Jaden Daniels was 17-24 for 184, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He also led the team in rushing with 88 yards and had 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson Jr. is a phenomenal running back, 12 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. And through the air, leading the way was running back Austin Eckler over from the Chargers, 4 catches, 52 yards. Defense, Bobby Wagner, 10 tackles. Bobby Wagner could be 60 years old and still have double-digit tackles. It doesn't matter. It's look, this is what was expected of the Washington Commanders. They're building. Buccaneers look great. Baker Mayfield, man, revamping himself. Year 2, 24-30, 289 through the air, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Bucky Irving, the rookie, 62 yards on 9 carries. Rashad White, 31 yards on 15 carries. Chris Godwin, 8 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Rashad White, 6 catches, 75 yards. Mike Evans, Hall of Famer Mike Evans, 5 catches, 61 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jalen McMillan, 1 catch, 32 yards, and a touchdown. Tampa Bay team, they're going to be okay. Not going to win a title, but they're going to be okay. I think we all expected this from the Commanders. It's going to be a long season. They're building. They'll win 4 or 5 games, get a high draft pick. But it's okay. I like this Jaden Daniels, man. I really do. Rams and the Lions was a good one if you missed that one. Went down to overtime, of course, where the Lions beat the Rams in a rematch of last year's playoff game. In a rematch, Matt Stafford comes back home to where he was bred. David Montgomery got the winning touchdown on a 1-yard run, 26-20. Hell of a game, though. Banger of a game, dude. Puka Nacua, wide receiver for the Rams, got knocked out and was injured. Stafford was 34 of 49 for 317, a touchdown and a pick. Looked pretty good. Kyrie and Williams, 50 yards on 18 carries, had a touchdown. Cooper Kupp picking up where he left off 2 years ago or 3 years ago. 14 catches, 110 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyler Johnson, who came over from the Buccaneers, 5 catches, 79 yards. Colby Parkinson, over from the Seattle Seahawks, 4 catches, 47 yards. Demarcus Robinson, ex-Chief, ex-Raven, 4 catches, 42 yards. Puka Nacua had 4 catches, 35 yards. Hey, look, this is a Ram team that's got players. They also have a lot of injuries, okay? And a great coach, by the way. They're going to be hurt, though, on the defensive side, losing Ernie Jones, who wanted a bigger contract and extension, didn't get it. I don't know why he didn't sign him. He was doing damage and a good young player. But for the most part, Rams look good. Lions are going to be tough, too. Jared Goff, 18-28 for 217, a touchdown and a pick. David Montgomery, 91 yards on the ground for a touchdown. Jamal Gibbs, 40 yards on the ground and a touchdown. It's a great 1-2 combination. Jamison Williams is what we've been waiting for. 5 catches, 121, and a touchdown. Sam Laporta, 4 catches, 45 yards. This team's got players, man. Alex Anzalone led the way with 13 tackles and 3 tackles for a loss. That's a beast right there. Him and fucking what's his name on the Vikings? It's like him, Van Ginkel, and Clay Matthews Jr. were all separated at birth. Carlton Davis III had 10 tackles. Aiden Hutchinson had a sack. This is a fucking team. Aaron Glenn doing a good job with that defense. 26-20 over the Rams. Nice way to start the season. And then we get to Monday Night Football. Look, let me say this first. What I saw from the New York Jets, I think that they have a promising future if they can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, if that offensive line could stay healthy, if Breece Hall could really take another step forward, and they get Garrett Wilson some legit help. Because Garrett Wilson was their lone wide receiver, and that's not going to work every week. Guy's a stud. We'll see more of Mike Williams as he gets more healthier, and they got to find someone else to throw the ball to. Conklin's good, but they use him primarily for blocking. But the Jets look good. The offensive line held well. They only gave up 1 sack. I don't hate to say this, but they also, referees missed a hell of a game, and all the holding penalties against Nick Bosa. I counted, like, I don't know, 8 times, 3 neck holds, headlock, fucking full Nelson, anything else that you did to him that they didn't call. But Jet offense didn't look too bad. Aaron Rodgers threw a dime to Alan Lazard. Still wondering why Coach Saleh pulled him in the last quarter for Tyrod Taylor. I don't care if the game was out of shape. You don't pull Aaron Rodgers. Defense looked terrible. Jeff Ulbrich is a real good defensive coordinator. Did not make any changes. There was no Hassan Reddick going into this one. He did not sign a contract, but the defense had no pressure whatsoever. And how could you expect him to, going up against the best, one of the best and most underrated offensive lines? Rookie Dominic Pooney on San Francisco dominated. The Silverback, Trent Williams, dominated. Aaron Banks, who's a monster, dominated. You didn't hear Quinnen Williams' name at all. The Jets also made a major mistake in signing Javon Kinlaw. He's a bust. Solomon Thomas, a bust. I should know. I'm a Niner fan. They're 2 ex-Niner first-round picks, okay? They need more big bodies to help Quinnen Williams and help those linebackers for sure. Brock Purdy looked great. I love that kid so much. I love the way his poise, his control, he doesn't get rattled, the play action. Jordan Mason, of course, was the story of the night, 148 yards on the ground, taking over for the injured Chris McCaffrey, who has now been put on the injury report, for 4 weeks. I think it's going to work out well, though. Shannon Sharp had a great point on him and Chad Ochocinco's show where he was talking about when he played for Denver, who was, of course, Mike Shanahan, father of Kyle Shanahan. When Terrell Davis went down, Hall of Fame running back, Olundus Gary came in and did damage. When Olundus Gary went down, running back Mike Anderson came. When Mike Anderson went down, Reuben Jones came. Point is that offense, that one-cut zone run offense, that's the way it works. So San Francisco is going to be fine with Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerriendo, the rookie running back, and Jusek, the fullback. Brandon Ayuk looked rusty, dropped a touchdown in the end zone. Obviously, that's just from lack of reps. Debo is an absolute beast who put on 15 to 20 pounds of muscle. George Kittle is basically, as Shannon Sharp said, a sixth offensive tackle. He's the best tight end in football because he does everything a tight end should do and more. Niner defense didn't look bad. We got a sack from newly acquired Leonard Floyd, which I was happy about. Should have had about 3 more if Nick Bosa wasn't going to get held. Fred Warner had himself a game. Had himself the best pregame speech of all time. I believe it goes something like, "We in the business of whipping motherfuckers' asses." That will forever be remembered. I know I'll remember it, especially when they win the Super Bowl this year. Devondre Campbell, I thought, did a good job filling in for the injured Dre Greenlaw, who's still obviously not back from tearing his Achilles tendon in the Super Bowl. I thought Diamador Lenore did a good job on Garrett Wilson as good as he could. Go back and look at that coverage. There's nothing more he could have done. Garrett Wilson is Garrett Wilson. He's a stud. That's just the way it is. So Niners won that 132-19. I think looking at the upcoming week, I will cover it next week, obviously, but, just for now, Buffalo was victorious last night. They absolutely destroyed the Dolphins, 31-10. That was a disgrace. The Jets at the Titans this week. I think the Jets can definitely win that game, although I think the Titans can definitely win that game as well. I think that's going to be a tight one. I really do. Winnable for both teams, really. Really winnable for both teams. 49ers at Minnesota. Look, this is a trap game. We're without Christian McCaffrey. They beat us last year. Kevin O'Connell's a phenomenal head coach. He gets a lot of great out of the quarterbacks. It's Sam Darnold against his old team last year. Take from what he knows from Shanahan, which I'm sure he learned a lot. We should win this game, but it's not going to be easy. Can't have turnovers. Can't have what I want to see more, even though Jake Moody was 6-6 Monday night, as Brock Purdy said, we have to score more points when we have the ball, especially when we're in the red zone or moving downfield. We need to have 6 instead of 3. And this is a good opportunity to go 2-0 because Minnesota beat us last year in overtime. Bengals at the Chiefs, man. Look, I don't know what kind of Bengals we're going to get. I really don't know. But you're playing the Chiefs at home. I don't think you're going to beat them. And I know this could possibly be something for the future, what we're going to see in the playoffs, the AFC Championship. But right now, the Bengals are not AFC Championship or a playoff team material, especially the way they played last week. The Chiefs are running on all cylinders. Raiders at Ravens. That should be a good one. That should be a real good one. I was about to say Josh Jacobs. No. Ravens need a win, man. I can't see the Raiders winning this one unless that defense can find a way to really put the pressure on Lamar Jackson, keep him in the backfield throwing the ball, limit his running ability, and really plug up the middle when it comes to Derrick Henry. For Gardner Minshew, I think Gardner Minshew is a phenomenal quarterback. I really think he's so underrated. Can't throw picks. Got the targets to throw to. They just got to get that running game going with Zamir White, monopolize the ball on offense. I think that could be a close one if it works that way. Browns at Jaguars should be a good one, man. Look, both teams need a win badly. Deshaun Watson needs to show us something before he ends up in a slammer where he should be. Trevor Lawrence needs to show us something too. Signed a big contract. Got to play better than he did last week than he did last year. But I think that's a good Jaguar team. My money would be on the Jaguars. Chargers at Panthers. Come on, it's all Chargers. Seahawks at Patriots. Another good game. The Seahawks are a pretty good team. They shouldn't have fired Pete Carroll, but there's no reason why they can't win this game unless the Patriots do to them what they did last week against the Bengals. Monopolize the clock, dink and dunk, run the ball well, play solid defense. Saints at Cowboys, that should be a game. I would love to see the Saints knock off the Cowboys. We'll see. Giants at the Commanders. I hope the Commanders absolutely obliviate them. That way Daniel Jones can finally get benched. I hope Jaden Daniels shreds them. Buccaneers at Lions. Good game. That's a fucking game to watch tomorrow, man. Really good game. I think that one could go either way. Although I think the Lions are the better team altogether, but that could definitely go either way. Colts at Packers would be a good game if Jordan Love was playing, but he's not. The Colts need to win. The Packers, I don't expect to win. They're going to be 0-2, especially with Malik Willis. Come on. Rams at Cardinals. Not an easy game for the Rams to win. They're going into Arizona at home. This is an Arizona team, I think, that has a lot of moxie and balls being where they are. Gannon, head coach, done a good job. Don't be surprised if the Cardinals pull that one out. Steelers at Broncos. This should be a really good game because it's not going to be the most exciting, but it's going to be very strategic, especially in the defense category and running the ball. I would love to see the Steelers win this game. Obviously, the Broncos, I don't want to say they're building, but they do have a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. He has to have a better outing. But I can't see the Steelers losing this being what they did last week, especially on offense with Arthur Smith and that defense. And if they continue to do that all year long, you could win 18-10, 17 times in a row, never score a fucking touchdown, and go far with that defense. Bears at Texans. That's going to be a fucking game tomorrow, man. That's going to be a game tomorrow night at 8:20. I don't see the Bears winning that game unless we see a much different Caleb Williams. I think the Texans, like I said, are going to be one of the top teams in the AFC, especially going to be at home. That place is going to be electric. If that's a blowout, I wouldn't be surprised. And finally, Monday night is the Battle of the Birds, Falcons at the Eagles. Look, both of these teams need to win. We need to see more out of Kirk Cousins to see that he is healthy and the guy that's going to lead them far, if he's going to lead them at all. And you need to see an Eagle defense that fucking gives a shit, that's supposed to rain terror like they're built to be. I'm not seeing that right now. We also need to see a Jalen Hurts that needs to play like an MVP, which I don't think he is. So, a lot of good games this week. Like I said, this is the first episode of a podcast. It went a little long, but I like to bullshit especially about something I love. But please Give the podcast a listen. Give the page a follow. Much love and respect. This goes out to all the football lovers. This is all that NFL madness. I'm mad about football, and I'm sure you are too. I just made that up right off the hairs of my ass. Not too bad. That's what we call improv.